Hi everyone. It is. Sorry, I just moved the mic. It is 8:51. Um, I was up for a little bit before I actually started recording. I actually listened to a YouTube video. It was like it was a reading. Um, I definitely feel reset, and I had well, okay, before I get into this, I'm at 272.7, which is kind of funny. 2727. I don't know. Just seems funny to me. But, so it looks like I've lost technically like 2.5 pounds. Or, sorry, 1.5 pounds. Math. Looking at like where I was on the third. So something I've noticed, and I just want to point this out. So on the first, I was at 275. On the second, I was at 275.1. On the third, it jumped down to 273.4. Then it jumped back up to 274.5 on the fourth. And then on the fifth, it went to 274.2. So we'll have to see if this becomes a pattern or not. But it looks like it's like 2 days of like staying at a similar weight, maybe even regressing a little bit, and then jumping down a little bit of weight, and then going a little bit back up. So it's like I step back, or what's the basically it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's what it looks like. We'll have to continue kind of measuring it and checking it out, but that's the vibe I'm getting. So if this vibe is correct, we might continue seeing something like that. It also could just totally be corresponding to like my activity levels. So that's also another thing. My activity levels weren't constant. So if I have constant activity levels, maybe we'll see a constant progression instead. So we'll see. Anyway, getting back to this kind of train of thought. So I went to bed having this royal of like anxiety and kind of a lot of self-doubt. A lot of like doubting, like, was it all just a fucking lie, effectively. Not that I have, like, obviously I haven't been lying, but like, my mind is trying to catch up. And when I was sleeping, I don't remember the full dream, but I kind of wrote down. I have a dream journal. I've been like just writing it, and so I've noticed that basically this dream was kind of dealing with a group of people that, for lack of a better word, they basically were like full trust with like the process. And because they're in full trust, they've like gone to like a higher level of existence. And I think that is kind of a symbolism of like what I'm dealing with currently, where there's like I'm like 90% in the door. Like all of my actions are in the door. But my mind and my anxieties around basically just like there's like that self-worth where I do believe I have worth. But there's also kind of something there that I haven't dealt with. That I kind of like intuitively knew that there was like something left to deal with. That's why I didn't say I had all my shadow work 100% done. And I kept using percentages that weren't 100% when I was talking about the shadow work. And so I listened to this this quick reading, and in the reading, there was this like there was a few things where it didn't really resonate, but towards the end, there was this part where it was like you felt before very content, very peaceful, and unhappy. But the incredible highs of like you know, like bliss or like whatever it is, like the incredibly high emotions, those emotions followed a crash, or I mean came with a crash. So it's like feel those and then afterwards you crash, because it's kind of like there's something there that is kind of preventing me from fully enjoying the feeling. And the term kind of like Pandora's box, effectively, where there's this box of heavy kind of anxiety and distrust and kind of lots of like doubt and, you know, the remnants of like the self-worth and all of that other stuff that I had been like working through. It all kind of is like in this box. And it coming up now is kind of like the box was open so I can deal with those things. Because it's not that I am like slipping back into something. Because that's what it's felt like almost. It's felt like I'm like, oh shit, did I like slip into like a lower, you know, state? Is this like, did I like fuck up somewhere? Like what happened? And then all of the fears and the anxieties like are like bubbling up. And in the reading, it mentioned the idea that like you're now ready to like deal with these things, and you have to like, this is the moment for you to kind of purge these things from you and like work through it and have the courage to face those things before the stuff that you've been kind of manifesting and all of that stuff, like stepping into the higher purpose and all of these things. It's kind of coalescing, where it's like it's very close, and because of that, this thing can't really stay. It has to be alchemized and like reworked before I kind of step in to that next stage. So yesterday, trust me, this will make sense in a second. So yesterday, I went through a process with my friend where I said, okay, you're feeling this. Where's it coming from? And I went down, I pulled the string, and I like lasered in on what it was. And it was not feeling like he was afraid to show himself and be himself. There was like this level of perfectionism, and it's like, why do you always get stuck on this perfectionism thing where it makes sense that you'd want this to happen, but like, what really is going on here? And we like talked through it, and you know, it came to the conclusion at the end where it's like, there is this level of being afraid to be yourself and being afraid to like allow the judgment of other people to see your work and to see the things. So it's easier to just not finish projects because, well, no one sees the project, and because I want to be perfect with the project, yada yada yada. And so, we just worked through it, and I'm like, there you go, that's what you got to work on. As long as you're just being yourself, and like, as long as you launch something, who cares if it's perfect? Think about all the games that get launched, because he's working on games for game development. And, he has a lot of really good ideas. The game that he talked about working on sounds really cool. I'd love to play it. And so, talking with him, I'm like, so what really is stopping you? It's this perfectionism thing that's actually hiding the real issue. And the real issue is you're afraid to put yourself out there and be yourself. Because maybe you're not sure if people are going to like you for who you are. And if you think about it, we talked about, like, how he's noticed, like, yeah, some people, when he interacts with them, it's like he's got to put the mask on. And it's really, really exhausting to have the mask on when he interacts with people. And I'm like, bro, you don't need the mask. Because when you have a mask, if you put the mask on, people will want to be attracted to that mask. And I've talked about this in the past, but I think it's really important to understand that, like, the mask attracts the wrong people for you. Internally, you're not going to be happy with what the mask brings, because the mask is not you. And so it's exhausting to be that you. And if you take the mask off and suddenly people don't like you, that is a symbol, and that is a signal that tells you those people are not for you, and that they were only interested in the mask you. And so what you have to do is just be yourself, regardless of who likes or dislikes you. And if that means that some people just stop being your friend, that's okay. because that means you've kind of released the friends that don't fit you. And the people who do fit you will be brought to you and will be drawn to you. And when you have genuine friendships where they're excited to just see you, not the mask you, but you, that's going to feel so good inside. Because it's like, they see you. There's no mask. You don't have to try. You just are. That's it. And they accept you. So that was kind of the process that we kind of went through. So I'm thinking I need to do that process with these current emotions. And I think I'm not going to do it here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do maybe it's a new series, I don't know. But at least it'll be a one-off video where I will, right after this, I will do that work in real time so people can see what I'm doing. Because I think, when I was done, like, talking with him, he was like, wow, you did that in, like, 10 minutes. You just kind of boom, 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 and then that's it. So, it's going to be hard, and I might end up, like, crying. There might be emotions. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. But I think this is like part of the facing it, is working through it and figuring out what really is the core thing. I think I already know. Like, I just gotta, like, ping on it. So I won't spoil it. So if you're interested in watching this, go watch the video. It should be up by the time this actually gets posted. So you might have already seen it. But yeah. So I think I'm going to end it here. And then I'm going to go do that video. And then I'll post it. So that'll be my pre-workout homework, I guess, because I'm going to go for a walk after. But yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hello. It is 3:45, and a lot has happened. First, the food. I've piled it on a little bit higher today because I am very tired in a good way, physically. Mentally, I'm still, like, wide awake, but physically, I am exhausted. So we'll get through the, like, things I've done first, and then afterwards, I'll start talking about other stuff. So, first things first, went to the gym. I did my workout. It was chest, back, and shoulders. So I did those. And then afterwards, well, okay. I guess this technically... Okay, so I did 15 minutes of walking. And I was going to do more. But my gut was like, no, you should only do 15 today. And at first I was like, oh, maybe I'll do some basketball. Gut's like, nope, you're not doing basketball. And so I, for the first time in like 15, 20 years, however long it's been, I went swimming. And I didn't wear the, like, top shirt thing that I was going to wear. I just put my suit on and went in there. I did 2 laps of breaststroke, 2 laps of crawl stroke, which is just, the breaststroke is like this, kind of like a frog. Crawl stroke is just straight through like that. Then I did 2 laps of backstroke. And then I hate butterfly, so I'm just not doing butterfly. I've always hated that exercise.
or that specific swimming style. But yeah, so couple things. First, holy fuck, even one length of the pool was a fucking chore. It was hard. I was so shocked that I was like out of breath, exhausted, heart's fucking pumping with just one length of the pool. And the pool is pretty sure this pool is not an Olympic pool. It's just a standard pool, which is 25 meters. So one Olympic length is 50 meters. So basically, back and forth is one length of the pool. So technically, I only did one length of an Olympic pool, which I used to do like I would do like 20, 30 laps as like a warm-up. So, and a lap is back and forth, that's one. So it's 100 meters. So I'd do like, I guess like 2,000 meters as a warm-up. And I'd alternate, it'd be like, so what you do, sorry, I'm getting a little in the weeds here, but I just like talking about it. So what you do is, if you are truly doing like Olympic warm-up training stuff, I say that, but like, that's how I was trained, even though I wasn't like in the Olympics. This is just like, the training I received was like base training in order to, if you had the skill and the drive and the determination, you could like level yourself up there. But basically it's like, okay, you start with 100 meters of like, let's just say crawl stroke, and then you'd switch to like breaststroke or butterfly, and you'd go through and rotate all four. And instead of hitting the wall and turning around, you do the flip, where you get to a wall and you do a somersault, and you turn, and then you push off the wall, so you get like a boost, and it's faster doing it that way instead of turning around. That's why everyone does that, and you'll see that in like Olympic swimming. They don't like stop at the wall and turn around. They do the flippy. Also, technically, while underwater, when you do the flip, you can kind of like butterfly like once or twice, which is more powerful than doing kicks. So technically, you can get your feet together and do like one butterfly pump as like an extra little boost. But anyway, that's kind of, we're starting to get into really like weed territory there, like micro weeds. But anyway, so yeah, so you do that, and you would have no break. You wouldn't stop, and you do that as like a warm up. You do like 20 laps. 10 laps is like, that's fair. You could probably just do 10 laps, and that would be a fine warm up. But usually it was 20. Because it just fit perfectly into 5 blocks of rotation. And then sometimes you do 30 or 40 or whatever. So like, so now, just pointing out, like, this also shows like how crazy 125 laps was when I was a kid, because that's 125, it'd be like 12,000 meters of swimming, which is a lot of swimming. Anyway, but we're kind of getting off track there. So I did swimming. I did a total distance swam with breaks in between every 25 meters. So again, this isn't really fair, but and my like posture was terrible. Like I could only breathe on my left side. It was like, but in spite of all the nitpicks I could have with it, I am so happy that I was able to get in there and swim. It was just so good. I'm so glad I was able to go swimming again. But yeah, so I did, let's see, 50, 100, 150, and then I went back to crawl stroke, 200. I did about 200 meters, so two Olympic size laps, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a start. And afterwards, I was so exhausted. Like, I dragged myself out of the gym. I hadn't felt that exhausted in a very long time. But it's like in a good way, where I'm like, I felt like I really pushed myself. So that should show up in the numbers either tomorrow or Sunday. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself. That was big. Now, the reason that this happened, because I was in fact avoiding swimming. I didn't really fully understand how much I was avoiding swimming. The reason was because I actually did a video where I live did shadow work in the video, where I just had the camera rolling, or the webcam, and I went through step by step to do actual shadow work that I was struggling with, so that everyone could see the before and the after, and they could also see what it looks like to truly kind of remove something from you. And what I mean by remove is not necessarily, it's all the symptoms that you've been feeling. There's a root cause. And when you alter and alchemize the root cause, all the symptoms disappear. Because they're only just signifying, hey, there's something you need to look at. If you have multiple symptoms, and it's like, there's the depression, there's the this, there's the that, it's because there's multiple root things that you have to work through. And this is why shadow work takes so long. Because you can't just blow through them all. It's a lot, it's emotionally draining. And you'll see it in the video. Like, it's already posted, so like you probably have either seen it or you've seen that it exists. So but highly recommend, if anyone is like, what is shadow work? What does it look like? I want concrete examples. Go watch that video, because I go through it, and it took like the full like video is like an hour, but the actual deep shadow work took like 15-20 minutes. I did a lot of like preamble before and postamble afterward, to explain kind of what's going on. And it gets really like, I'm really vulnerable in that, where it's like I'm like talking to my like inner child, and it's like there's like a huge emotional like moment there. So yeah, go watch it. I think it's a valuable teaching aid, which I don't think there is many instances of this on, I guess, YouTube in general. Not that people don't go through this, but it is a very personal thing. So most people don't want to really share this like intimate moment with themselves. So, which is totally understandable. I'm not like blaming anyone, but I just think it's important for it to be out there. So going through this, man, I really, it's every time this happens, it feels like magic, because there's not even a whiff of the anxiety and like self-doubt and stuff that I felt before. It's as if it never existed. That's how like thorough, when you get to the root and you change the root in like a really healthy way, and you know it's not about killing the thing that you're looking at, it's about alchemizing and changing it to be like healthier. So whatever that thing is, in some cases it's the inner child, there are other things that can show up too. But in all scenarios, it's turning this negative experience and flipping it into something where you can reassure yourself in some way that it's okay and that it doesn't have to affect you anymore. And again, it's all dependent on what it is you're dealing with. So, and sometimes, like, at the start, it's not going to look like that. If you're just starting out with shadow work, this is like, you've gone to college for 4 years and this is your last final class. You just took a final exam, and that's what the final exam looked like. Most shadow work at the start is very like, we start surface and then we go deeper and deeper until you get to that point. You can't rush it, because if you rush it, you're gonna miss stuff, and then it's gonna fuck things up. So you gotta go step by step. And some people have a deeper thing that they have to dig down to, and some people have a little bit shallower thing where it's like they don't have as much that they have to sort through, and that's okay. Everyone's different. So yeah. And you'll know. There's an inner knowing. You'll know when you're like in a really good spot, because you don't have these like things that don't feel like you, where it's like, why did I act this way? Well, I mean, it's probably some sort of shadow work. If it does, you don't recognize why you did a thing, it's probably because there's some sort of shadow work you got to do. So, but anyway, that's kind of, yeah. I'm so happy that happened. So yeah, I'm back to being incredibly excited about my trip. I'm actually really excited to not have a hotel like prepared, because it's like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. It's just like, my intuition will get me to where I'm supposed to go, but I'm excited to like see what happens. And you know, maybe I'll just say it could be that between now and then, some sort of like arrangement will show up where it's like, oh, here's a place to stay. Maybe it's not a hotel. Maybe it is a hotel. Maybe it's some, whatever. But regardless, I don't need to book one right now. I can go there, and I will figure out a place to stay. So yeah. But so I did that, and then because I did all of that, my inner child was safe enough to go swimming, because that's an inner child thing for me. The swimming is like directly proportional to like, do I feel safe enough? And I didn't know that. So like when I was trying to go swimming like a week or two ago, I didn't know that there was still something I had to kind of like work through in order to feel safe swimming. So yeah. Then I had a really good talk with one of my buddies. He's been just working through a lot of stuff, and he talked about how I think he's gonna start some shadow work, and I'm like, that's great. Like, this is awesome. I'm so glad that he's starting his process, because he does need to like heal himself. So I hope he succeeds. I know he can. And shadow work is very much about like consistency and doing like small things over time and kind of working on it. And he's very good at doing that. So I don't doubt that he's gonna, like, he's definitely gonna like get through it. I think the only thing is he just needs to be like careful about not biting off too much, which I will just recommend to everyone. It's like, if you feel like you might get overwhelmed by something, there's like courage, and then there's going in too deep. You don't throw someone who's never swam before into a fucking ocean with no life raft, nothing. You don't do that. They're gonna drown. So you start in a pool that's really, really shallow. You got little steps. You just sit there. You put your feet in the water. You get used to the water. Then you walk a little deeper, maybe to your knees. And then eventually you walk into your waist. And then you slowly wade out. And during that time, you build up skills of how to deal with it in your way. And eventually, when you get to the deeper parts of things, the things that are more close to like your core self, you have the tools, so you're not overwhelmed. It may be hard and it may take courage, but you're not going to be overwhelmed. So that's why we take baby steps. So yeah. I'm pretty happy with how things are going. Yeah, this is a big step. And now I just need to, like the swimming, I'm probably going to do swimming once a week. I don't know if I'm going to do more than that, because it really is an exhausting thing. I need to get like in better shape to swim more often, unless I just want to futz around and not actually swim, which, that's a thing. But I also kind of want to make sure to like be taking care of my skin and my hair. I have like shampoos and conditioners and pre and post like swimming stuff that I do, which I would recommend, for anyone who's thinking about doing swimming or has done swimming. You want to take care of your hair. You want to take care of, if you have a beard, you want to take care of your beard. You also want to take care of your skin. If you don't wash out the chlorine, because there's special like chlorine removal like body wash and shampoo and conditioner. So if you don't wash it out properly, you can feel the difference on your skin and in your hair. You just can. So you need a proper routine for that. And over time, it will like negatively impact you if you don't address it. Like normal shampoo and normal conditioner will not get the chlorine out in the same way. Same with like normal body wash. That's why you gotta use the special like chlorine removal stuff. So anyway, it's a little side thing. I also I wanted to, but I felt too audacious to say this to this person. There's a guy that's like relatively fit when he was swimming. He had like a watch to like beep him on like timings and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, like, you know, he's in decent shape. He's not really stopping. He's not doing the flips, but like he's not, you know, he'll get to the wall and then he'll turn around and do the other thing. But man, I remember my grandfather and my mom and my dad and also my coaches when I was younger all yelling at me for doing what this guy was doing with his crawl stroke. It's called the beached whale. I don't know if they've changed the name, but this guy was doing the beached whale, and I was like, like, you can't do that, don't do that. And he was also doing the slapping seal. Another no-no. Those two combined, forget about being fast. You're struggling with yourself. So just a quick thing, a little like teaching moment for anyone who's interested in knowing about this. So the beached whale is when you're doing crawl stroke, which is, you know, this motion. And I can't really do it because I'm gonna hit the mic, but I can try and like show off what this looks like. So you're down and you're swimming and you're doing a motion, and obviously like I can't really fully translate it, but when you come for air, you're not supposed to do every other stroke. And the reason is because you will have this motion. You'll do one stroke, the second stroke, and then the third stroke, you go for air. And then you do one stroke, and then two strokes, and then third stroke, and you come for air. So if you do it every 3 strokes, you're switching your head back and forth. And this is the perfect interval. And you can do it further if you have higher lung capacity. But to start, you do 3, and then you can extend out to whatever is comfortable for you. But if you do every other stroke, you do 1 stroke, and then 1 stroke. This is the beached whale, where you're just like this in the air for half the time. So yeah, so that's like, you know, nothing, again, nothing against this guy, but I was just hearing all of the like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Every 3 strokes, not every 2. It's like, yep, I got it, no problem, sorry about that. And then the second one is doing this when you're crawl stroking. You're just slapping yourself like a seal, slapping the water. And when you do that, there's a lot of friction and resistance that the water puts on you trying to drag your hand to move forward because you're slapping the water. So this makes you go way the fuck slower, and you tire your whole upper body out way more because you're going through a lot of resistance. This is why you actually do this, and you use like a knife, and you knife into the water. So you go in at an angle. If this is the water, you go in at an angle, and you slide under the water, and then you pull, and you do that with both hands. And what that does is you'll see no splashing or very little splashing up front, because you're not hitting the surface tension of the water when you're digging in to pull yourself forward. Makes you go way faster. So again, he was doing this like he was crawling, and like you don't want to do that because that is tiring. So anyway, also, people don't use their fucking legs enough. All like 5 people I saw swimming while I was doing the swimming, I was like, use your legs! Use your legs! Kick! Come on! It's like no fucking splash from behind. So, okay, since I'm already here, I might as well just talk about the leg thing too. So when you're kicking, this is where actually doing a big splash, where you take your leg slightly above the water and do like a wave while you're kicking like this, is actually, it will help you because you're using the surface tension as a means to actually like kick off of the surface tension. There's like a slight resistance there that like helps you. So the higher, I'm not saying that this is always the case, but if you want to go faster with your legs, getting that like consistent kind of patterning down where you're using your legs almost like you're stepping on the water, but not really. Like it's not actually stepping because you're using the top part of your foot as opposed to the bottom, which you normally would. But you're creating these waves that then propel you forward, and there's a lot of power in your legs. So you'll see when you look at like professional swimmers, they all have incredible like leg muscle, like it's a whole thing. So why? It's because legs are where you get all your power of forward momentum. And really, what your arms are actually doing is they're kind of like the guide to guide you forward, while the legs are the power. And when you realize that, you suddenly swim a lot better. Because all you want is you want to cut the resistance in the front while getting all the power from the back. So yeah. I don't want to comment on this guy's butterfly technique. It looked like he was trying to jump out of the water. To be fair, I'm really bad at butterfly, but at least I know what butterfly is supposed to look like. Anyway, I'm tearing these guys apart. I feel bad. They're just random people, like, try to just do their workout. This is why I didn't say anything. It's like, first of all, they probably wouldn't believe me. Second of all, like, I'm not going to just bother some people. Maybe if I got to know them and they consistently showed up and I'm like, hey, just so you know, maybe there's a different way. But like, you know, I always feel like the workout is very sacred. And unless someone's hurting themselves, like if someone's hurting themselves, you definitely should like step in and say something. But like if they're doing their workout and it's slightly like different than you would do it personally, shut the fuck up. Just let them do their thing. So yeah. Anyway. That is my swimming TED Talk. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's like the having the basketball and then having the swimming. It's like, oh man, there's so much of just like I have an older perspective now on all the things I was taught when I was younger, and I can see all the reasoning behind it. So now I can like articulate the reasoning in a coherent manner, which is great. So feels good. Anyway, I guess that's it. I guess I'm gonna go eat some food, and in 4 hours or 2 seconds for you, you will see me in the next one. So I'll see you then. Bye. Hello. It's 8:19. I made my chickpeas. Got a little banana going on, and I really accidentally dumped a little of that like blackened charcoal stuff into the chickpeas. I gotta clean out the air fryer a bit better next time. Anyway, yeah, so I did some cleaning of my computer, which I know doesn't sound like much, but I kind of went through and deleted stuff that no longer kind of matters to me. I've been a very big digital pack rat for a while. And yeah, that plus I had like a decent stash of like porn videos that I had, downloaded over the years, and I just deleted it all. I got rid of all the bookmark stuff that I had in relation to that as well. And yeah, there's no need to hold on to that because I'm just not going to look at it. I don't have a desire to do that anymore. Yeah, it's just I've like totally broken free of that like porn addiction thing that existed. It was already kind of broken for the most part, but I still like held on to the like collection of stuff that I have or had rather. And yeah, no need to hold on to it. It feels good because it's like it's another aspect of my life where there was this like distortion around sexuality and like what I wanted, and it's totally been like reset, so to speak. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. It's like by kind of healing my inner child and healing like myself over time, a lot of this stuff, it's not something that was in alignment with the current me. And so now that I have a new kind of state of being, I'm in the process of, on the computer and then on like in my room and just in general, it's a process of removing what doesn't fit anymore. Removing the things that they just don't fit. And when something doesn't fit and you don't desire to use it or you don't want it, then why is it in your life? It is really that simple. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if I've held on to, an example. Some like anime figures and stuff. I've held on to them for a long time. I don't really care about them. I enjoyed the anime at the time. That's why I got the figure. But just doesn't... It's not something that resonates. So I don't need it in my life. It's another thing. And it becomes really clear, just to be clear here. It becomes very obvious when something doesn't fit anymore into your new paradigm. When you have shifts like this, where it's like for an example, going back to the porn thing, because I think I need to talk about it a little bit more. No one asked to have me do these things. I didn't ask to do those things either when it comes to like deleting and removing all the porn and everything. It just kind of... It's like there was baggage there, and the porn addiction was kind of like the symptom to that baggage. And as soon as the baggage was gone, suddenly the porn addiction, I don't give a fuck about the porn. And I think that's kind of like, it's such a obvious change. It's similar to like, I don't feel anxiety about like where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm actually excited that I don't know where I'm going, that I don't know how things are playing out. Because like at my core, I enjoy like adventure and like getting to see and do new things. And that's part of why I love video games so much. It's like I get to explore this whole new world that someone crafted, and I get to like talk to new people. Obviously they're like scripted NPCs, but it's like I get to see the storylines play out, and I get all this fun stuff. Same with books. And now it's kind of like, yeah, I finally can be excited about that without feeling the anxiety. It's just gone, you know? Just like how once I kind of did the love video, suddenly the wanting to look at porn just disappeared. It really was like an overnight thing, where it was like the night before I had been looking, you know, and then the next day it's like, it's gone. That's it. And I'm like, whoa. Like, it's kind of a huge deal. Especially, I think it also is kind of like, I didn't even have a thought in my head that I was going to ever be with someone. But now I'm like so sure that there's someone that I'm going to be meeting. Like, where the fuck did that come from? I don't know. But like, it suddenly showed up. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't need that like old habit anymore, because why would I need it? It's like growing out of a pair of socks or something. You don't think about, oh, I should throw away these socks or give them away or whatever it is. You just kind of, well, they're no longer needed, so no point in storing them. It's the same level of like finality with this stuff. And I can't really state enough how these are signals that you really truly have like done the shadow work to the point where it no longer will be a thing in your path. Now, of course, new shadow work comes up. But again, I don't subscribe to the treadmill of like having to revisit something a billion times. Once you've totally solved the root issue, like if you were sick 10 years ago with the flu, you don't suddenly try to treat the flu today. That just doesn't make sense. You treated the flu back then, and if it didn't work, you kept treating it until the flu went away, right? It's the same thing here. If you have to keep going back to the shadow work and do the same thing over again, there's something inherently like wrong with the shadow work you're doing. And what I mean by that, before people jump down my throat, is not that you're doing shadow work wrong, but it's that the process may not be completed. So an example, in the shadow work video I did earlier in the day, if I had stopped my shadow work at, like if I never got to the parent part thing with my mom, dad, and my grandfather, if I had never gotten there and I just stopped before on that process and thought, yeah, I'm done, well, it's still the root issue. It's still there. So you may clear out a lot of the like symptoms temporarily because you've kind of worked through it. But then the symptoms come back, and maybe they come back in a slightly different way, but they still come back. This is the type of shadow work that I suspect some people do, where they get stuck in this treadmill, where they'll get all the way to almost where the root problem is. They'll stop, either intentionally or unintentionally. Most of the time it's subconscious, where it's just kind of, maybe they're not ready to see that, or whatever it is. They'll stop, and then they wonder why it comes back, and they have to do it over again. And it's like, yeah, I've done this song and dance, like, just go down and do the thing, and then clean it out, and it's like, it becomes addicting, that it's like, oh, whew, I cleansed that. Oh, thank God. well, in 6 months' time, it's going to pop back up, and you look at your watch, and you're like, okay, obviously it doesn't work exactly like that. But that's the kind of thing where you can get easily stuck in, like, this addictive loop of, like, feeling like you're improving yourself when you're actually just trapped in a cycle. It's a cleaning cycle, but it's still a cycle. So this is why it's so important to get down to the root of things. And at first, so just like, I'm not saying you should go there right away. You have to, there is a process of, like, you go one layer, you clean that layer. It may come back. That's okay. You get used to doing that layer, and then you go down the next layer, and then the next layer, until you get to the root. And when you get to the root, that's when you're like, okay, I have fully cleansed this. It is no longer on my radar as something I need to worry about. It, quite frankly, just, it's gone. So yeah, I've beat that over a dead horse, or I've beat that to death effectively. I don't know, beating over a dead horse, or I don't know. There's some analogy there. I'm just too lazy to do it. But yeah. So that's really what it is. Sounds simple. It's not. It's definitely not simple. It takes a lot of time to do it. A lot of patience. You have to be patient with yourself, and you have to be loving to yourself. So, yeah. But anyway, so, like, I'm incredibly happy that, like, there's not even a desire to, like, pop open a website to, like, look something up. It's just gone. And I feel like that about a lot of things. And I'll just tell you, all that's left when you fully cleanse all of this, all that's left is this, like, warm, glowing, like, space in your heart that just starts radiating out. And it's just a constant, peaceful glow. And it's, like, awesome. Because you're not fighting yourself. You don't even have to think about how you act, because you just act the way you would, regardless of who it is. And you know that you're acting from a place of kindness, love, and acceptance. Because it doesn't matter who you're talking to. You could be talking to the 80-year-old grandpa on the street. You could be talking to some homeless guy that, hasn't showered in 10 years. Or you could be talking to some lady at a front desk. Or, this buff dude at the gym. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. You treat them all the same. And when you treat them all the same, that's when you're honoring yourself and you're truly seeing everyone as the same, where we're all people, we all have struggles, and we're all in it together. We're all trying to work on the same things. We're just on different parts of the path. And our paths are always looking, like, uniquely different. And that's what makes us unique and special. Every single one of us is special. The idea that no one's special, or only a select few are special, that's all bullshit. The people saying you're not special, you are. You are just as special as I am. You're just as special as whoever else that you want to compare yourself to. You don't even need to compare. You're special in a unique way that only you can be. Just as I have my thing where only I can be me, only you can be you. There is no one else. No one else has walked your exact path. Even twins. Twins have not walked the exact same path. And that's just the way it is. So, if anything, if you've learned anything from, like, my journey so far, and I'm still gonna, there's gonna be new adventures and new things that are gonna come up. So, like, I already know that there's gonna be a travel montage of, like, me recording. I don't know if it's going to be on a phone or if I'm going to bring my laptop or whatever. Maybe I'll do both. But yeah, I'm going to like record my whole trip when I go. And I'll have daily things just like I'm doing now. I'm going to really try to eat food that lines up with my dietary food stuff. It's going to be hard because depending on where I'm going to be living during that time, like, there could be some challenges, but like, I think I'm going to bring at least some of the supplies that I have just stocked up for the week. So at least I can make the cereal. I can buy a banana pretty much anywhere. The chickpeas, I can get canned chickpeas, so I don't need to bring the chickpeas. The vegetables in the morning is that's probably going to be the meal that I go out to get, unless like there's a way for me to like be able to cook, or at the very least, be able to microwave and maybe air fry. Like, I don't know how microwave tofu would even work. But yeah. So I'll just have to cross that bridge when I come to it. But yeah. Like, I think it's also totally fine to try and find, like, part of the thing is like searching for like a restaurant that does like a stir-fried tofu dish where it's just vegetables and tofu. Like, that's kind of like, that will be really fun to just go and like look for it. I'll be like theoretically in Chinatown, so if anywhere is going to have like some sort of tofu dishes, I would expect Chinatown to have that. Yeah. And maybe I'd, venture off and try some other dishes. I'm definitely also gonna, I think I want to look into, if there's a gym, because my membership's nationwide. So I'm gonna see if there's a gym that I can go to in that area, because I definitely want to still work out while I'm doing the trip. Maybe even swimming. I don't know. That's like, I kind of don't want to have a wet bathing suit. I mean, I guess I could if I had. Anyway, that's like, I'm thinking a little too far ahead. Or maybe not far enough, because I guess it's in 11 days. So 11 days from today, which I guess for you guys would be, by the time you watch this, it'll be like 3 or 4 days. So I guess, damn, I'm gonna be getting ready to go by then. So, not that I haven't been, but yeah, anyway. Alright, I should stop yapping. I want to eat my food, relax. I need to upload today's video too, so. Okay, have a good night. I'm going to see you all tomorrow. Peace. Something new. Whoa.